Did you know that there is one setting on Android that doesn't exist on the iPhone that can drastically improve your video quality and get you closer to the film look with a single tap in the Blackmagic Camera app? Before I tell you what that feature is, let me know if you can spot the difference between shot A and B by dropping a comment below and tell me which shot looks better to you. I am of course talking about the ability to disable digital edge sharpening, which is unfortunately applied in all native camera apps on both iPhone and Android to increase perceived sharpness artificially. Shot 1 had this disabled on the S25 Ultra and Shot 2 had it turned on. If you chose Shot 2 as your preferred image, that isn't surprising since smartphones became the most popular camera in the world. Many have been conditioned to equate digital over-sharpening with quality. This is most noticeable in fine detail areas of your scene and can really hurt skin, which looks much more unflattering with sharpening applied. And if you are, like myself, a bearded fellow, digital sharpening won't do your facial growth any favors at all. Even in Blackmagic Camera on Android, edge sharpening is applied by default, which is an odd choice, but we can easily turn it off under Settings, Camera, Increase Sharpening. Just tap to turn it off and you'll instantly get a more pleasing image. In fact, most pro video third-party apps allow you to disable edge sharpening on Android, which is really great. Digital sharpening is not applied aggressively on any professional cinema cameras, so why should you treat your smartphone any differently if you want the best results? If you need to artificially edge enhance detail, you can do this in post easily using DaVinci Resolve or any other NLE, so there's zero reason to bake it in destructively. So thankfully Google's Camera 2 API for Android allows sharpening to be disabled, but the iPhone has no such feature, which is why this option is missing in Blackmagic Camera on iOS. So what can you do on an iPhone? Well, if you're on a 15 or 16 Pro, the Apple Log pipeline turns sharpening off, which is nice, so just shoot everything in Apple Log. But what if you don't have an Apple Log compatible iPhone, or what about removing sharpening on footage you've already captured on Android in the native app? For example, I just picked up the S25 Ultra solely because it is the first device to include Samsung Log, which is currently only available in the native camera app's Pro Video mode. Typical of Samsung, while trying to make out that they've created a smartphone camera for pros, they still apply aggressive sharpening in the video mode. So what can you do about it? Well, you can of course apply some sort of mild blur in your NLE, for example in DaVinci Resolve, which is free. I've been experimenting with a lot of techniques to soften over-sharpened video for an organic film look, and I get the best results using two plugins from FilmConvert, which are available for Resolve, Premiere, and Final Cut Pro, to dial in what I consider to be the ultimate film look. And you can get a free trial if you want to test this yourself, and I'm curious to hear what you think. And if you like what you see, you can save 10% with the discount code EPIC, which you'll find in the description below. The first is using Hazy, which is a mist or diffusion filter emulation. While softening is not its primary function, diffusion really helps even out skin blemishes, it reduces perceived sharpness in the highlights, and it adds a really filmic highlight roll-off too. I'll typically apply that to my first node in Resolve, and the trick is to make it nice and subtle and take the less is more approach. I like Pro Mist for style with an 1/8 strength, and I'll drop the intensity down too, so we've counteracted the digital sharpening some and created a more pleasing look. And then in addition to this, I'll use FilmConvert Nitrate, which of course offers amazing film emulation and grain, but I just really like their image softness slider under grain settings, which is a lot more sensitive and granular than Resolve's built-in sharpen blur sliders. And you can use it without having to apply any film emulation. I will typically use Epic LUTs for the look and Nitrate for softening and film grain only. Again, you just want to make a subtle adjustment to negate the artificial sharpening as much as possible while maintaining detail. But here is the before and here is the after. Obviously, the ideal is to disable sharpening in camera using Blackmagic Camera App on Android, which will always deliver the best results, or capture an Apple log on the iPhone. Then I'll just use Hazy to improve my skin without needing to rely on Nitrate's image softening slider. But using Hazy and FilmConvert on artificially sharpened video can work wonders. So going forward, now you know how to get a more filmic image straight out of Blackmagic Camera on Android and how to remedy over-sharpened video in post if required. If this video helped, please share and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye.